Hello, everyone. This is Andrew from Auto Off Topic. The coloring contest is back, and now it's been improved thanks to Frank Eck. The contest is simple. Complete one of the pages in any of three mediums. This includes electronic using any of the paint type programs, colored pencil, marker, and or crayon, with one entry counted per medium per person. So each individual can have a total of 3 entries. There will also be 2 age groups, age 15 and below, and 16 on up. Links to the coloring book pages can be found on our Facebook page or the page for the coloring book contest. Facebook.com/AOTP Contest 2017. Electronic entries, including scanned entries, can be sent to us via email, autoofftopic@gmail.com. Paper copies can be sent by snail mail to Auto Off Topic Podcast, P.O. Box 35, Georgetown, Mass. 01833. Note, all hard copies received will not be returned. Period. The contest runs through November 30th. The companies and owners groups donating prizes are Mitsubishi Motors North America, Adventure Driven Design, Force Performance, Palladian Trucks, Northeast Mitsubishi 4x4, Mitsubishi Montero Owners Group USA, Florida Mitsubishi 4x4, and Mitsu Nation. All right, on to the show.
Have you done podcast stuff before? Excellent.
No. So, the other part of that banner on the other side is just like a Lancer one, and then they have another one that went with it, and it had a timeline of Mitsubishi history.
I remember that being in the dealership, actually.
Yeah, I think it's still there, and maybe they threw it out. I don't know. I should go by there and see if it's still there next time I'm there.
You should have one of the guys that works there save it for you.
Yeah,
if it's still there.
I know enough people that work there still, so.
Yep.
Anyway,
right.
That is recording.
Excellent. Welcome to episode 41 of Auto Off Topic. I'm Brad.
And I'm your other host, Andrew. And tonight we have another guest this week.
We do. Killing it with the guests.
Yes. Dan Downey is joining us of DowneyDirtyRacing. And Dan's going to tell us about Subaru Climb to the Clouds and co-driving for Vinnie McMahon.
Former guest Vinnie McMahon.
Yep.
With the Eagle Talent.
Yes. And then Dan is also drives his own rally car and was just at New England Forest Rally. So
we have a lot of cool stories coming up.
Yeah. But I figured we'd start, I guess, sort of from the top. And I don't know, give us how did you get started in rally, Dan?
First of all, say hello, Dan.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah. Andrew's jumping the gun here a little bit.
Get right in
waiting
there.
for the gap. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I've been racing for about 4 years now. It was just like 2014, the beginning of 2014, and I've always, been into. You guys talk about Gran Turismo all the time, and that's how I found rally. And I went to my first Forest Rally in 2010, and
cool.
The first car that goes by, I'm like, yep, I'm gonna do that.
That's a general thing. Everybody we've brought to rally the first time, they're like, holy. What just happened?
Yeah.
I brought my friends the first time this year. They went to watch, and he said the sweep car went by, or the course opener, and he's like, that's good.
Yeah, we can go home now.
Yeah. And then were they on Conquer Pond for the beginning?
No, they didn't make it Friday.
Oh, all right. Yeah. If you're at Conquer Pond, if it's like your first time ever and you're at Conquer Pond and you actually see a jump, it's like shocking. Like a system shock to see a car leave the ground at like over 100 and then land and just keep going.
Yeah.
Like nothing happened.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Well, I remember that we had a few people that the first time they ever went up was Tournament Pond, right?
Probably, yeah.
And a couple of our regulars now. And this was before we really knew how to spectate.
Yeah.
Like we weren't really good at it yet. So we were just in a regular spectator area. And the spectator area in Sturtevant is a really long straightaway at the time. And I remember...
It's really not that good.
It's not that good. It's a long straightaway. It's not a great... But again, we didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah.
But for a first-timer to come out there and see, especially in this era of rally where, factory-back Subaru teams and whatnot out there doing,
110.
over 100 miles an hour past you in the woods in a single-lane dirt road is that's mind-boggling to some people to see that.
Banging my bottle of beer against the table. Sorry.
It's all good.
Yeah. When you see a car for the first time on a rally car on a stage in a straightaway, it is pretty shocking to see how fast they go in a straight line.
Right, and then you spend the rest of your rally watching career trying to find turns.
Yes,
because you know how fast they go. You want to see them sliding.
Well, and they didn't know anything about it coming in. Like I've tried to explain it to them. You can't explain it.
You can't explain it.
Yeah, you got to go see it. And I only got to go past them once because of stories we'll talk about later about what happened. But I had caught up to somebody, and I was 6 seconds behind them trying to catch up on the dust. and they're like, I didn't even think that was possible.
Yeah.
Why were you that close?
I know. I think we saw one of our first couple times spectating years ago. We saw a couple cars pass on stage.
It was in a spectator area, too. It was like a 90-degree bend, and the two cars came in bumper to bumper, and a guy made like a dive bomb pass around the 90-degree bend in the spectator
It was like
area.
a golf on a golf or something.
Yeah, and I just remember everybody was like, whoa, what was that?
Yeah. So anyways, back in 2010, I saw my first sports rally, and then I started spectating and volunteering for a couple of years. And back then, the rules. So I'll get into like why I picked my car and everything.
Did you
We'll get to those questions.
Did you?
Well, it's kind of the same. It's because of rally.
Yeah.
Did you rallycross first before you went to your first stage rally to watch? Or?
Yeah. So I had my car, and I started rally crossing in my everyday Subaru.
Okay.
Like
typical.
like most do, until I finished up the stage car or the rally car at the time.
Yeah.
Because I had to put a motor in it, and I didn't know anything about working on cars, so it took a while.
Okay.
And I got antsy.
Nice.
But
You learned a lot then.
Yeah. So yeah, I rallycrossed for about 2.5 years or so in it, and so last year over the winter I put a cage in it. So yeah, I rallycrossed for a couple of years, gathering parts and things and learning about the car and what I need to get and what you need to get onto stage. And then you buy a bunch of safety stuff and you throw it in and you go try a rally sprint or full rally and you're doing it.
So what was your first event with the car?
I did a rally cross at Mount Snow.
Okay.
That was in your Subaru.
Oh, in my Subaru I did what do you call it? Stafford Springs Rallycross.
Yep.
2014.
I was asking when the first event was with the BMW, so we kind of get
It was in
little
like
bit of
May of the same year.
of last year.
Of 2014.
Sorry, 4 years ago.
2014, yeah.
Okay.
But it wasn't caged yet at that point.
No, it was stock.
Okay. So once you got everything caged, where did you start with that car?
I did 2 sprints with it after it got caged because sprints it was the second year of sprints.
Yeah, they just kind of
They started, which was perfect because it was much cheaper, and I figured out all the things that weren't going to survive on stage.
Significantly cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, significantly cheaper.
And time and effort and money. It's
it's
more friendly.
It's an E30 chassis 3 Series.
1987.
87.
Yep.
So what is that, 325?
Yeah, 325.
So is that the big 6-cylinder?
That's the biggest one they had at the time, right?
No.
Oh, 328.
So not in that car, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there was the 2.7 liter economy torquey makes no power motor.
The E.
Yeah, the E.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was in the 5 Series, in the 7 Series, a 3.5 liter straight 6 at that time too.
And that it's a higher compression than the E, and it just makes more
Yeah,
power.
the 2.5 does. Yeah.
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 Yeah, I know a lot of guys now take the 2.7. And
It's
put
in
the
like-
they put the 2.5 head on the 2.7.
Yeah,
There's a lot
it's
of
in
crossbreeding.
that
going on
engine
now.
is in like 90% of
So
those cars.
the E30, did you find it on like Craigslist or?
I did find it on Craigslist.
Yeah.
I found it. I actually 2 years before I raced it. The second year I was volunteering.
Yeah.
I was looking on Craigslist, and there was one near Forest Rally,
Oh,
and
excellent.
I went
destiny.
after Forest Rally and went and looked at it,
Yeah.
and the guy didn't have the title, so I had to come back.
Oh, it's Maine, yeah. Older cars, they don't have titles
Yeah,
sometimes.
so he found like enough like registration and stuff for
Cool.
me to go get it. So yeah, the next week I went and bought it there. He had 2 of them actually.
so you
the one was full of water, and I didn't buy that one.
Yeah, probably a good plan. So you showed up on a rally high, and you're like, I need a rally car.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
So what was the process of picking an E30? Were you planning on building a stage car, or was it just because you wanted to rear-wheel drive, or?
So sort of both. I mean, I had the mindset to do rallycross and eventually get on stage, and I bought the car with the mind that I would use it all the way through that process. And at the time, in 2012, when I started looking, the rules for Rally America, which was the only one I really knew at the time,
Yep.
was you had to start in 2-wheel drive. You couldn't do open light then.
Yep.
You had to do 2.5 liter 2-wheel drive car. And so I went on and used the internet knowledge.
Figure out what that
cars
meant. Yep.
have that? And I don't know. I had front wheel drive cars for everyday cars, and
Right.
they were a large Impala and a SUV. So I thought front wheel drive was lame.
Yep. And you were right.
And cars going sideways and throwing lots of dirt was a lot cooler in my head.
Yeah, and that was the beginning, really, of the whole gravel machine gun movement, too.
It was. The first time I drove it to
Forest
Forest Rally, just as a normal car, someone put that sticker on there.
Oh, really?
I was like, who did that?
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was like between, at the end, like, there was Volvos, and I was like, they're wicked heavy, but obviously cool. Mm-hmm. And then it was between a 944 and the E30, and I figured Porsche was more parts, and it had less power than an E30.
And they're more expensive.
And they're more expensive, yeah.
Yep. And less common to get other parts off other cars from.
Yeah, so
that makes sense.
There was plenty of E30s around, so I went and found one.
This was kind of before E30s have gone way up lately.
Yeah, they've gone up pretty high price.
It was before, like, the M3 explosion. I mean, normally 30s are still pretty low because M3...
Depending on the car.
Depending on the car.
Yeah,
I mean,
the car.
A lot of them aren't taken care of. So that's why they're low.
Yeah. A nice E30 now is
a nice E30 is definitely worth it with the amount of work that's put into it.
I've never driven one.
Oh, really?
No.
Yeah, I have driven one. I've never driven a rear-wheel drive one. I've driven an IX. So it kind of ruined the whole experience for me.
That's too bad I couldn't bring the convertible today then.
It's all right. We have a friend with a convertible you can drive sometime too, actually. Yeah. Actually, his is an automatic, though. It's convertible.
Yeah.
It's kind of lame.
Yeah.
Sorry, Al.
Actually, slammed too.
No, that car's gone. He sold that car.
Yeah.
Yeah, his wife's car.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so we do have a friend with an E30.
Yeah, so I found that one in Maine. The guy had let the timing belt to go on it. So it was the first and last timing belt engine that they ever made from BMW.
Common Maine malady.
Because that happened a lot. And
it's interference.
It's interference, and they set the interval to about 50,000 miles. And people with BMWs don't care.
Yeah.
50,000 miles is it, huh?
Well, it was the first and last, as I'll put.
So there were chains prior
and
chains after.
This car probably had 150K on it without doing a timing belt.
It had some amount.
And
I don't know.
Some astronomical number.
Yeah, and then people don't realize that, yes, the timing belt is like 50 or 60, but there's also time on that because it is rubber.
Yeah,
it will rot away.
Yeah, it will rot away. So
word to the wise, if you ever buy E30, even if someone has told you, yes, I did the timing belt 10,000 miles ago,
anyway.
they're lying.
It's not terribly difficult to do it. So
this is a common.
I did it in the night last night.
Yeah, this is a common Mitsubishi piece of advice. Every time you buy a Mitsubishi, unless somebody can show you this ridiculous proof that the timing belt was just done,
like a photograph and the cut still on their knuckles.
Yeah. Just do the timing belt because it's like literally a penny saved by doing it. Versus blowing the engine up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I say that, but I still haven't done the one in the Blue Colt yet. We should probably get on that before.
That has a timing belt?
Yeah.
Oh.
It does.
It probably takes 2 seconds.
It literally will, because it's a single overhead cam car, so it won't take any time at all. But that's off topic again, as always.
That's what we do.
So, E30, you chose a two-wheel drive car because you had to.
I did at the time, and funny enough, when I actually started to get on stage, you could have done an open light car. And being a rally enthusiast and not a very informed one, and a Subaru bro like they all start out as, I probably would have picked
a Subaru. Yeah.
But as two-wheel drive, and I'm happy on a two-wheel drive. We have a lot of fun in rear-wheel drive.
I am happy that you drive a rear-wheel drive car, because there aren't enough of them out there.
I like the current resurgence of rear-wheel drive vehicles. There's a bunch of BMWs at NEFR this year.
There was about 10 rear-wheel drive guys.
Yeah,
this time.
And I also
think
think
45 cars or so.
Yeah.
I also think that as a spectator, the non factory back teams are not as fast, obviously, because they just don't have
might as well
millions
have fun.
and millions of dollars. So you, as rear-wheel drive guys, put on a much better show for the spectators than the four-wheel drive guys.
We put on a better show for ourselves, too.
Yeah, I'm not even talking about that, because absolutely you're having more fun. But as a spectator, I get way more excited when a rear-drive car comes by sideways than when a Subaru comes by.
Well, I mean, in rally notes, it says spectators, and I drop a gear and go for it.
Yeah, see, you got to go for it. And we appreciate that. We did not throw a burger at you, unfortunately. I'm sure you noticed.
No, I know.
We previously discussed.
I had some other stuff on the mind.
Yeah, we previously discussed throwing a burger at you, but we did not do it.
Yeah,
where did that come from?
It was a Facebook thing.
Jordan said he was going to do something, and then he said, we have burgers, and I'm like, throw me one. If you hit the air vent on the top, then you win.
Yeah, no, you said something about coming by, and Jordan's like, hey, if you get enough of a lead, just pull over and stop. We'll give you some burgers and some beer.
I was like, just throw me one.
And you're like, don't worry about it. I won't. Don't think I won't. So we're going to throw it at you. We actually came within minutes of ordering a giant inflatable burger just to hang over the course when he went by for the picture's sake for that trip. But
okay.
It was only like 3 days before the event, and we were counting on Amazon Prime to ship it in one day, and we just kind of like, it's not going to happen.
Do you ship to a campground in Maine?
Yeah, we're like, it's not going to happen, and then we're going to have this giant inflatable burger when we get back. It has nothing to do with it.
Can you drone it into South Arm?
Yeah, exactly. So it didn't happen. I thought it'd be funny, but then we're like, he's not even going to notice it, so it's only going to be good for pictures afterwards.
Yeah.
But whatever. Maybe next year we'll try again. Even though it won't be as funny if you know, but still.
It's like the Colin McRae inflatable doll crash.
Yes, which actually, as spectators, last year we had an inflatable doll.
You've had Judy for a couple of years.
Yeah, for a few years.
And then she didn't last or something.
Yeah, we had Judy, and we tie her to the easy ups, and she waves at all the spectators going by.
She's the actual ditch hooker.
Yes. So, anyway, any more questions about the BMW, Andrew? Has it been a reliable car?
It has, and honestly, it's really tough, and it takes the abuse until I've started, as a privateer or amateur. Really, you start off in rallycross, and when I started on stage, I was pretty slow.
Yep.
But we're kind of getting there now, and I'm finding stuff that is not up to the task.
All right, especially in Maine.
Especially in Maine, yeah. SCPR, we had zero problems at all.
That's
we
excellent.
washed the windows; they got dirty.
That's excellent.
But yeah,
the roads are super smooth there.
Yeah, that's awesome there.
So you didn't know anything about cars before you started this?
I mean, I obviously a car enthusiast.
Yeah.
And I didn't have any like car friends that we like work on each other cars.
Okay.
And, I did stupid intakes on my daily driver. Anything my dad would let me do at the time.
Yeah, I hear you. We all had that when we were younger.
Yeah.
You want to do what, not a what? No.
No. Don't do that.
And I didn't have very exciting cars, when I was in like college and stuff. And so I was just, standby or on the sidelines watching.
Yeah.
And then
playing video games and watching other people.
Right. Exactly. And then, I took home the BMW and I was like, I'm just going to take it apart. And then if it gets put back together, it gets put back together.
All right. That's a good method. That's a good way to learn.
Obviously,
Well, I had a broken engine, so I wasn't going to mess anything up.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've learned quite a bit because, you've done roadside repairs in the car. You've done roadside repairs in your tow vehicles.
Didn't the head go bad on it?
Early this year?
Yeah.
It's probably something because of not knowing much.
Okay.
I've gotten lucky for the past couple of years because when I put the engine that I put in the car originally, when I first bought it, I guess some oil pan gasket had slid its way into the little baffle in the pan. And for the past couple of years, I've just been very lucky. And then one oil change, they worked themselves right up under the
pickup.
Under the pickup.
So it just starved the top end of the motor?
It starved the whole motor.
Oh, jeez.
Super seized. Just driving home. Not even racing or anything. Just driving home.
That's not good.
Yeah,
That's not good.
It was annoying. But
I've had a couple of cars that have epic failures, like idling in the driveway. I'm like, what the hell? Come on.
So did you pay someone to do the cage, or you didn't do? Did you do the cage yourself?
I didn't do the cage.
Okay.
No, I actually did it with a guy in Western Mass he makes circle track tube frame cars.
It's the same as Vinny.
Yep.
Yeah, it was the same guy as Vinny. Yeah.
Okay.
That seems to be the guy to go to lately because
it's cheap.
Exactly.
Me and
it's
Vinny.
Not pretty, but it works.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
To give him explicit instructions, Vinny said.
Yeah.
Oh man, I called him a week before. Like, how's it going? And he's like, oh, what were we doing again? I was like, I made the hoop, and I'm like, what?
Yeah. But it got done.
But it got done in like 2 days, and I was like, oh, well, good job.
All right.
So, you want to talk NEFR first, or go all the way back to Climb to the Clouds?
Well, no, I had one more. So I had another question. So once the cage is done, then you take the car to a rally, and that's where it gets teched and logbooked?
It can be.
Can be.
So there was 2 guys actually that showed up at NFR, and they were coming, and they had sent pictures to Don, and they actually needed some welding on some of the bars. They weren't welded all the way, and build the whale with his gigantic truck. Always brings his welding stuff.
Yeah,
and he finished them up for him, and they got logbook there. But there's NASA and Rally America and
now ARA,
and they have their own. Tech inspectors that are around. Don and Walter Clark used to be around.
Okay.
Right over in Dover, and I went to Walter over there. I just drove it over there, and he teched it there.
So what's your future in the sport? What do you think you're going to be doing with it? Do you think you're just going to continue to do some local stuff? You're going to try to do some further away rallies? You going to try to build a faster car? Or just keep doing what you're doing? Like, what's your goal, end goal here?
Trying to build a faster driver.
That's the most important goal.
That's a good goal.
I mean,
you know, like we just said before, I drive a pretty stock E30, and I do what I can with the money I'm willing to spend.
Right.
You know, just working as a normal job. You know, we don't make the same as Vinny. We just have cars that are legal to do these things.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to drive and do, you know, a few big events a year and still do rally crosses and stuff because it's just fun. And I actually, Emmanuel Sachet has invited me to co-drive for him at DeFi.
Oh, that's excellent.
Oh, excellent. That's in November, isn't it? Or is that... No, I'm thinking of...
No, it's September, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Emmanuel is a very convincing man.
He is. A lot of big events I've done is because of him.
Every time I've talked to him, I've gone home and like crunched numbers of how to build a hill climb car because he really wants to try to push people to go hill climbing. And I think
the way he talks is just so easy.
Yeah, but him and Margaret like got on me and Jordan after Mount Snow this year. And they're showing us videos, and they're handing us like all these schedules, and they're like,
"Well, that's why they made him the rally liaison to the spectators because you can talk it up."
Yeah, no, he definitely does, and
he sounds like Sebastian Loeb when he's talking to you. Like you're like,
he's
originally from France. So that's why,
he's really pushed. He's really pushed me to even think more about
it.
And
then you go out to his house, and
I haven't
this
gotten
beautiful view and rally cars everywhere, and you know,
I'm sure that would be the nail in the coffin to get me to build one of my current cars into a hill car. But so, are there any bucket list events that you are going to try to do?
I mean, before last year, Forest Rally was the bucket list event.
Okay,
that was I thought it would be amazing to finish it, and we did it last year.
And you did.
And so now I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'll just keep doing this.
Oh, we should talk about that real quick. But so last year, on your way...
My famous story.
Yeah, your famous story. On the way to the New England Forest Rally...
Honestly, because this happened, it made everybody know who you were. You know, a lot of people knew you anyway, but it really made you kind of infamous that whole weekend.
People go around, and I'm like, you hear, oh, that's the guy where his thing burned out.
Yeah. So what happened now? You can tell the story real quick. We want.
So I had an old. Dodge is now my trigger word, by the way.
That's okay. I drive nothing but Dodges.
Yeah. Well, they're Mitsubishi Dodges, but
so it's fine.
But for Brad, it's Mob car or no car.
Yeah. Well, my pickup truck is a Chevy though, so
yeah. So I had I resurrected a 2000, 150,000 mile Dodge 1500 from New Hampshire that was used as a work truck by replacing the brake lines.
Okay.
And I probably shouldn't have, because this truck pulling in July through New Hampshire up a large mountain with a very heavy trailer. I mean, it's rated for it, but it's an old truck.
Yep.
And up through Franconia Notch in New Hampshire, a very steep, long uphill incline with my car and all my stuff in like 95 degrees that day. It was really hot. Something let go in it, either like burned through a fuel line with the heat or something. The transmission boiled over. We don't know because it was just on fire all of a sudden.
Yeah. There wasn't enough left to investigate afterwards.
No, I mean, I don't know if you've seen the pictures around. It's on Jalopnik and everything. If you look it up from last year, it was probably about 10 minutes from perfectly fine truck to just total rusty
inferno.
Shell.
Yeah.
It's amazing how fast cars will go up if they go up.
When they do go up, it's quick.
Well, I had just filled it with gas, too.
Yeah.
It was 2016.
No, you're lucky. So was it just you in the truck?
It was me and my girlfriend.
All right.
And it popped, and Kevin came up, and he was in my WRX because we were going to recce in it. And he came up and he's like, fire, like screaming at me. And so I slow it down. I turn it off because I didn't want the fuel pump beat. And that made it really slow to slow down.
Yeah.
A big trailer. And by the time I got out of the truck, there's flames shooting like 10 feet between the bed and the cab.
Yeah.
And I'm just like that slow motion in your head, like, oh, this is it. This is gone.
So how did you have the wherewithal to unhook the trailer and get it pulled out of the way?
So we never unhooked the trailer because, we hit it with some fire extinguishers, and then that wasn't going to happen. So I went back to the car because that was the first thing we thought of. Like, we got to get the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we can get that off. So we just pulled the straps off it.
Yeah.
And pretty much reverse jumped it off the trailer. And then by the time I got out of that and it was far enough away and got back to the truck, I pulled the toolbox off the truck, put it on the ground next to the trailer, and I turned around and everything was on fire.
Yeah.
So that was all we grabbed.
And that part of the highway is like between big cities. Like you're kind of in the middle of nowhere, so it probably took a long time for fire trucks to get there.
I sat around for a while just watching it.
Yeah.
All the stuff in it, like the tires exploding and everything.
Yeah, wondering what you were going to do next.
Now, did somebody say?
No, it's something like that. I don't know. For me at least, I'm just sitting there like, whatever. And we got in the car because we had the car. It's road legal rally stuff. I had my suit, my fire suit, and my Hans. My helmet was in the car that burned. Thankfully, Team O'Neill lent me one.
Yep.
But we just got in the car and we started driving. Like,
what are we going to do?
Whatever. Let's just go there.
The famous rally phrase, press on regardless.
Yeah. I mean, we're most of the way there, so let's just go there at least.
Keep going. And somebody said, were the dashboard supports magnesium in those trucks or something?
I don't know.
I thought somebody said that somewhere, and I was like, that seems really odd that it would be magnesium in a like base truck like that.
In a modern vehicle.
But it would go up really fast if it was magnesium.
Well, it's a lot of plastic and wire and fuel and oil and transmission fluid and carpet, and there's a lot of flammable things in a vehicle.
Yeah.
But like I said, that story kind of made everybody realize who you were, at least that year.
Well, at least
and it made the rounds all over the internet.
At least for me, I mean, that made the rounds that year. But at least for me, it wasn't over yet because the first day I put it into a ditch, first real stage rally, I was a little not used to the speed, and I put it into a ditch, and the car was fine, but I had somehow broken the tabs that hold the transmission up. Mm-hmm. And so the transmission fell down and the drive shaft was like eating stuff under the car. And so I had to do a transmission swap overnight from Friday to Saturday. Mm-hmm. And the car we were at like Parks Expose was happening. I was hammering the drive shaft into the transmission to like make it to Parks Expose. It was like that close. And like things were like chicken wired together. And we're like, okay, we have to do a whole day now of rally.
Yeah.
And that was just an adventure in itself to get there and finish. And then, me and my Kevin, my co-driver, were just
mentally exhausted.
It was, I'll never do a crazier couple days, I bet, in my whole life. So.
I think that's part of it for some people. It's just the adventure of it.
Yeah.
Even if you maybe don't podium or something, it's just the adventure of doing a rally.
Yeah.
It's just unlike any other form of motorsport.
Like I said, you became pretty well known about that, and you were kind of like the feel-good story of the event because you still finished. Or you know what I mean?
I mean, you could. I saw the video later of North Road, the last stage, and like I could hear it in the car. I went by at North Stage, and all the volunteers were there, and all the spectators that knew, and they were yelling.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, oh my god,
yeah,
we're doing it.
It kind of cemented your future, though.
It was pretty cool.
I mean, everybody knows Dan Downey now. Like, you're just the hard luck guy who had a crappy event that one time, and it was your first real event, and now it's like, everybody knows Dan, so everybody cheers you on. You have a fan base now.
Yeah.
So thanks to your truck burning down, you have fans.
I have a recognizable car too. It helps.
Yes, you do. You have a really cool livery on the car.
Yeah.
Where'd the livery come from?
So,
is it related to the Bastos?
The Bastos, the original, the Manx Rally in '88. I'm pretty sure.
Which, if you haven't seen the video of the E30 M3 on the Manx
definitely
Rally,
the most famous E30 M3 rally video.
Yeah, it's
of
ridiculous.
Patrick Snyers attacking the Manx Island.
The crap out of that guy. It's awesome video.
So I mean, it was.
We should put a link up on the page.
Yeah,
You can watch that. Is a great video.
I haven't watched it in a while. I should rewatch it.
Yeah,
yeah. Well, someone links it to me like every other month, so I've seen it. But it was in a really easy livery to copy. Like, I'm not like a graphic designer, and I didn't want to like pay for a wrap or something.
Your car was already red.
My car was red, and I was like, I gotta look like a race car if I'm gonna do real stage stuff. It can't just be red.
Yep.
So I had some white paint and some tape, and we made it in a day.
And it worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very recognizable car because it has that like. No, I don't want to say iconic because it's not an iconic livery. It's only that one car, really. But everybody knows that car from that video, especially on YouTube. So it's very cool to see.
In the internet age, everybody knows that car now.
Yeah. Nobody knew about it from like '88 to 2012, but then it got famous again. So
people on the Isle of Man knew about it.
Yeah.
Well, it was funny because I was watching old WRC stuff, and I guess he was on the Toyota team for a while with the Celica, and he had the same livery.
Same livery in the Celica.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah,
that's cool. Like four-wheel drive Celica or previous?
No, the full WRC at the time.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. Yeah, the early WRC Celicas though weren't four-wheel drive. Well, they were WRC. They would have been just before Group B.
What?
The Group A ones. The Group A ones.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then Group B, they went to the crazy.
They're talking about the
4-wheel drive notchback.
They're way over there on the shelf. The ST 185s, the
ST 185s. Yeah.
Yeah,
those are cool Zelicas. Yeah. Bastos livery as well. But that's cool because your livery, and it's funny being a fan of local rally here in the States. There aren't many liveries that are recognizable because people just buy a street car and put numbers on it.
Yeah. Well, if you're in Massachusetts, I drive it around all the time.
In the car?
In the car.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
You guys, you don't live near enough to us to have seen it, but I'm sure if we're out there,
I don't usually come this way to go north. So
yeah.
Well, it's like the 964 with the
Martini livery. Yeah, everybody knows that car. There's a few cars that everybody knows, and yours is one of them. So it's definitely a cool story. So, were there any hard luck stories this year trying to get to the event, or was it good this year?
No, it was. This is
a leading question because I already know the answer.
There's already something with Forest Rally, it seems. I guess, like I was saying earlier, STPR was really nice and easy. But yeah, on the way to Forest Rally this year, I made a pit stop in Peabody here without planning it.
Yep.
Just popped a brake line on my van I have now. I have an Astro van. To tow around, which does really well.
Yeah, they actually are pretty decent. The gearing in them is set up well for towing.
Yeah,
so.
You can sleep in the back of it too.
Yeah, that's what I was told. Get a van. It's a mobile shed.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But yeah, I just popped a brake line and we had to change it again in 95-degree heat on the side of the highway in Peabody. Kevin's he has a truck. He left the AC running because we could jump in it like every couple
cool
minutes.
Off just so you can die on the side of the road.
On the side of the road.
The truck did or the AC did?
The AC compressor.
Oh Jesus! Yeah, that's no good.
I think I was already up. Yeah, at that point I was already up in Maine this year.
Yeah, I wasn't, but I was nowhere near Peabody to help out, unfortunately.
No, it was fine. So, we changed it over.
It's funny because when you posted the picture, you must have been back on the road again.
The first picture, we were still working on it.
Well, maybe the second picture, because the picture posted from Georgetown, and I was sitting in my house, and I was like, oh, crap, they need help in Georgetown. I'm living in Georgetown. Like, I'm just going to go on the highway and give them a hand, bring them tools, but you're already gone by that point. So
yeah, we left.
I did not do it. Yeah, because on Facebook, it shows, like, where the picture was. He must have been on the highway on the way up when he posted the picture.
Yeah, we left we were driving for like half an hour before I posted the other one.
So that would be it. That's why it said Georgetown, is where I live. So, but anyway, yeah, hard luck stories every year with the transportation up there. But next year, you'll have it knocked.
So you did. So that was your first stage rally
last year. Yep.
Last year. Then you've done a couple sprints at Team O'Neill.
I did Black River last year, too.
Okay, so you did Black River.
And STPR in early June.
Yep, of this year. Black River Stages is cool. That's a NASA event. That's way up in northern New York. It's like 8 hours from here, roughly.
It was only like 5.
Oh, I think, see, I thought it was like 8 hours, maybe 6.
Maybe you got lost on the way.
Yeah.
I don't know. It took me a while to get back one time.
Yeah, it was only like 5 or 6.
All I remember is I went there in 2012. It was like, it starts like Saturday afternoon.
It's one day.
Yeah. But I like went up on early in the morning. I was there for like the start, and then they run it on like Sunday too. 2012 they ran 2 days.
Yeah, they might change it depending on what roads they have. But it was compacted into one day.
Yeah, because NASA was trying to do this thing where they did the stage rally on Saturday, Sunday to give people less time off from work on like a Thursday, Friday.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
It makes sense, but also like it's nice on a Friday, Saturday schedule to have all of Sunday to make it back
to recoup.
Yeah, exactly.
It was especially nice last year because I had to go and get the trailer and
buy a truck.
Yeah, because I had to I remember coming back, driving. I left on like Sunday afternoon. I don't think I got back here till like midnight.
Yeah,
and it was just like, ugh.
Yeah. And they had night stages there too, which was kind of like part of the reason I did it. Because
does NASA still have motorcycles too?
They do at some events.
Some events they do rally moto.
At that one they did too.
I've heard Sandblast is pretty cool.
I heard
people keep telling me to go down to Sandblast. It's just like North Carolina.
Yeah,
that's not too far. We can do that a day drive.
It's all sandy roads. I guess that they just keep
like Arizona was.
Yeah, but even like softer sand, like almost
really soft,
like almost like beach sand. Yeah.
That's cool.
And they'll just keep grading them, I'm told, and like the sand banks, like instead of snow banks, they're just sand banks, keep getting taller and taller, and you just
it looks like the car.
Yeah, you just kind of bounce off them.
That's cool. Yeah, I'll take a ride down there with the.
Yeah, that seems like a good one.
That with you.
ESPR, are they doing that this year? Is it dirt?
It's dirt for the first U-Bill Future.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, because they can't do the tarmac anymore.
Very rough.
It's as rough as NEFR, I'd say.
The whole time, though.
Yeah.
NEFR is rough in spots. There's spots that if you don't respect it, you'll break the car.
Yeah.
But all the rest of it is pretty fast and pretty nice. ESPR is rough the entire time. Some of those stages are
like rock crawling in a rally car.
They're reclaimed ATV trails.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's really rough.
Yes.
Well, some of the stuff.
That's what we do when we go four-wheeling.
Yeah.
Like, that's not something I want to do in a rally car.
Some of that stuff at NEFR that was the northern stages, up like 5, 6, 7, up around the lake, Azizcahoos. That stuff was real rough up there.
It wasn't as bad last year for sure.
Yeah, no,
There's a lot more loose rocks this year.
Well, we know the last spot that we spectated was on the B17 route.
Yeah.
And we took like an end about back way in there.
We ended up with the second chicane.
Second chicane, yeah. You came through with a back wheel shaking in the breeze.
No, that wasn't him.
That wasn't him.
It was a different E30.
Okay.
He didn't. You were broken by that
I
point.
didn't make that.
That's right too. I always saw you go by once.
That was literally the last. It was B17, and then it would have been North Road. It was the second to last stage.
Yeah. Okay. So you weren't there for that one.
Yeah.
So the other E30 was had the wheels shaking in the breeze as he went by.
Yeah, the white one.
Yeah. The rear wheel was
like
kind of
bouncing
doing
up
whatever it felt like doing.
The shock was gone.
Probably.
Yeah. It was bouncing around like crazy.
Where the cars were cornering, it had basically turned into a giant berm with.
Oh, it was bad the first time I went through. Yeah.
And
but it wasn't a berm like a dirt berm. It was a berm like a boulder berm.
Yeah.
Like it was pretty freaking
they're,
bad.
I guess to describe them, they're like softball size to like football size.
Yeah. Boulders.
Just granite rocks. Just car destroying, ball joint destroying, oil pan wrecking.
We thank the Subaru guys of America for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they dig it up pretty
Yeah, that's the thing. You push out the fast 4-wheel drive cars at the front of the field and they road sweep, but they more like road dig.
Yeah.
Like they really dig it up.
Yeah.
Like it would almost be. I'd like to see him run reverse order a couple times.
It would be hard.
They probably
would be
won't
super
do
hard.
that because the cars are so the
Exactly.
big dollar cars are so much faster.
A pipe dream. It would be cool to see a reverse order, but
Yeah, it was cool that they climbed the clouds. They could do that because I'm not sure why they did it. Really? Because
I
some
think
cars take a long time.
I think they did it at Climb to the Clouds
I think they did it for spectators.
Because when you do something like we have all the spectators at the bottom of the hill,
It's like the build up.
if they see the
They're just gonna
fastest
leave.
cars go first,
They just
they're
leave.
not going to stick around for those pre-war cars or the 60s
right.
cars or all
And
that
like all the privateer people, like just hang out and see those people, like support them. Like
Because, I loved seeing, like, I don't know, it was an Allard or whatever the hell it was, going up the hill first at, like, 40s or 30s car go up the hill. It was really cool to see it.
Yeah, they're really
but-
cool. And like 3 years ago, they had like 3 times as many of those.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it gets old. They're slow.
That's what I mean.
it takes so long.
As a spectator who's not, like, a dedicated car guy, they'd probably be like...
This car won in 1946.
Yeah,
Like,
they'd probably
cool.
be like, oh,
Yeah.
this
Took
is
20
kind
minutes.
Of, this is kind of boring. Like, I don't want to sit through this. And they would try to leave. And they'd
And those
walk
guys,
down the
those
road
guys
trying
aren't
to leave.
racing either. They're doing bracket times.
Oh, are they bracket times?
Oh, that
because they're not caged.
That
That's right.
explains
There's-
the lack of the
super
cage.
not legal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that definitely explains because that Sunbeam
Didn't
no
have a-
cage.
Had no cage.
had no cage at all.
Zero cage.
It went by and I was like, what?
Yeah, and that. Well, I don't know if you saw it. The orange like F1 car looking like 60s, 50s F1 car looking thing.
Oh yeah, that has
It had,
nothing.
it had one like head bar
Or
around
loop, one loop.
one loop around his head.
Yeah. So they ran like regular hill climb rules, like a breakout time.
Yeah, like breakout time. Yeah,
That's cool.
Oh, neat.
Because
Okay.
that
so they're a little slower than they could be, I guess.
yeah.
But
Well, that Sunbeam Rapier was like my favorite car. of the
Before we
weekend.
get too far into the hill climb, what happened at NFR this year that you?
So this year, I mean, I was talking about it before.
Yeah.
Where like I'm getting faster, and a car that's meant for perfectly smooth German roads
Yes.
is really not up to it without some modifications. And so the first stages the car had like a little play in the rear end, and I thought it was just bolts that kept coming loose.
Yep.
So we kept tightening them down as hard as we could, but it had a little movement on and off throttle,
Yeah.
and I couldn't quite figure out what it was, but it was fine. And on it, and the first stages, I had to change the master cylinder, and I didn't quite get a good bleed on them yet, so we were just going to fix that at service. So went to the first stage in Concord Pond, and we were going for it perfectly fine. Second stage, though, was a little harder to drive the car.
Yeah.
It got harder as it went on.
Yeah.
We weren't quite sure. I'm like, bolts must be loose again. But, we get to service, and I take the wheel off to go look, and the subframe is tearing in half. The trailing arm is tearing the top of the subframe where it's mounted off.
And these are just like pressed or stamped.
It's a
steel.
stamped subframe, and I had reinforced the trailing arms because they like to bend on big jumps and things. So those are good now, but now they're tearing something else.
Yeah, because there's no give in those. Yeah, it's going to move to the next thing.
Right. And so, again, somebody had a welder there. We pushed it down. We tack welded it a bit because we had to go back out, only a half-hour service. And we went out for the next loop on Icicle Brook and everything. One of those stages was canceled.
The second one got scrapped. That's a whole other story.
Yeah. Robbie Durant.
Yeah.
You can find that one online.
Yeah.
I think there's a story in Jalopnik about that, actually.
Yeah.
Spined. Yeah.
That's not good.
No, it's not.
No.
Yeah, I'm not upset at him for calling the ambulance. It was probably the right move.
We were there. We listened to the people there, like the workers, and like they were making this. They wanted an ambulance, and then they disappeared, and they weren't running the stage until they found out what was going on.
They put a hold on it. It wasn't a Red Cross.
Yeah, and there was a whole.
The problem is that stage is almost. Well,
it's 16 miles.
It's 16 miles, but the ambulance can cut the loop, but it still takes a long time for an ambulance. It's 10 miles to get down a rough.
Not a rally car.
Yeah, it has to get down a rough road. So.
And the guy that was in the middle is a repeater. I think it was like his first time as a.
Well, that's the thing we talked about on the last episode, I think, with Jordan, didn't we? We talked about how.
And then eventually, when we figured what everything was going on, we realized that we didn't have the road for long enough to start the rest of the cars.
Yeah, so they just called it. It was the right move in the end, unfortunately. But
so overnight we welded it a lot to try to keep it on there, and then we went on the next day, and first stage got canceled too for another crash. And that was fine. That was definitely a Red Cross worthy. And then the second stage, though, I had this issue at sprints, and this is why sprints was like a good thing to, test the car and figure out what comes apart like easily before you go and do a forest rally or something. And I had this problem. If the zip tie on a fuel pump relay, they kind of hang out in the breeze, and you got to zip tie them on so they don't fly out, and then the car dies.
Yep.
And that happened twice on stage because the first time I just pushed it back in, hoping it would stay. And then the second time I had to zip tie it in. So we fell down the order a bit into the slower cars. And then the second stage of the day, the metal around where I have the E30 is like a Corvette open hood.
Yeah, it's a forward opening hood. Yeah,
it opens towards the front of the car.
Yep.
And I had removed the latch for it because it's kind of just in the way, and it's easier just to take the hood and put it on the ground so you can get to everything at service.
Yeah, and then if you're driving forward, it's not going to blow open because it opens to the front.
If you had the latch on it.
You would think.
Yeah. If you had the hinge, I should say.
Air does funny things sometimes, too.
Oh, there's no hinge.
I took the hinge out because it's in the... If you open it forward, you can't get to the front of the engine. So I figured it's just easier just to put it on the ground and you can get to everything. And you put in some hood pins on the front.
Right, gotcha.
So the latches in the back are still there. The hood pins failed somewhere in P17, and eventually the hood flew off. And
did it hit the windshield or
no? Well, that's the lucky thing about
it. Flew completely up
and over. It just flies straight up.
Whoa!
It bent over to the left, hit my mirror, and was gone.
So it didn't smash the windshield or the roof
no,
or all that?
Where it would on like a normal opening hood, it would just immediately smash the windshield.
That's a good thing then.
Yeah.
I mean, it sucks that it flew off, but
it's a feature. Yeah, well, I mean,
it's a feature. Yeah.
The hood just really keeps
quick release
dust and rocks from hitting all the important like electrical stuff.
Yeah,
it's really
and belts too. Keeps some rocks out of belts.
That kind of stuff. I mean, it's not like super necessary.
Yeah, you're not running a full aero car.
So, yeah. And so we did that whole stage like that, and then we started. All this stuff put me down in the order of people starting, and they have the start order because faster cars can catch slower cars if they're started in the wrong order. Mm-hmm. And so by the time we got to Sturvin 1 for the last stage of the loop, we were started behind a first timer on real stage rally on at Forest Rally.
So they're going to be slower.
Just because it's the first time. They've done one sprint before. And I was like, it's okay. We might catch them by the end, but that's whatever. That's fine. But no, we cut them about 4 miles into a 14-mile stage.
Yeah.
And so we did a lot of miles in the dust. Sometimes just white out. I couldn't see a thing.
It just was crazy.
It was really bad.
There would be the car would go by and dust us out, and you couldn't see somebody that was 10 feet from you for like a good 10 or 20 seconds.
And because I was just kind of following the road and I could like look around, I saw the spectators and they would record. It was a Volvo. They would record the Volvo going by and then hear my car, and their head would swivel back.
Yeah.
And then the camera would follow right after that because they were confused. Like, what?
Why is he so close?
Why is he so close?
This is the other thing, too, for people who are spectating at rallies. You need to be careful because there can always be a second car. Even though there's a 1 minute window, cars can catch each other. And if they're quieter, you might miss the second one.
Sometimes the louder car goes through first.
Yeah.
You don't hear the second car coming, and you're going to be road pizza pretty quick.
The stealthy car will get you if you're not paying attention.
Like the RAV4.
So somewhere through there in Maine, obviously, there's lots of rocks.
Yep.
And I can't see them all through the dust. And a big one jumped right in the middle of the road.
Rockadillo.
A stuck-in one, not a loose one.
Yeah.
And we bounced the car out of the skid plate. And I knew it was hard enough that I probably didn't miss the oil pan.
Ooh.
And we finished the stage. Sure, if I jump out and there's oil all over the ground, the engine was fine. Like, it had a little bit left at the end.
Just enough.
It was just enough not to blow up.
Oh, the mile we would have had a problem.
Yeah, probably.
Engines will run for a while without oil.
Yes.
Surprisingly.
The problem is...
Not indefinitely.
Right.
But a while.
And the problem comes up later on after you've changed the oil 4 or 5 more times.
Yeah.
Where that bearing that was a little dry is like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could happen again, but, that's all right.
Just put some street miles on.
Yeah, so we found.
that.
I spotted someone's truck that I knew, that they would be spectating by the finish. Jamie Bellevue.
Yep.
He was nice enough to flat tow us back to service.
Yeah, because he's a sometimes competitor, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, he would want the same thing for him.
Absolutely.
And so I got flat towed back to service. I knew I was going to miss the whole next loop, but I figured I had an oil pan. It was at Sunday River, but someone was nice enough to go get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
and
You had a spare oil pan with you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
We had enough
Hour
time.
and a half away, but...
Yeah. But we had enough time, so we got it off while he was going getting it, and I was like, we'll miss the last loop, but I'll go out for North Road.
So you can at least finish the event.
Yeah. Well, not even really technically, but they don't score it as such. But
In your head.
in your head, and
Yeah.
all the people that are like, oh no, what happened? And you go by for the last stage.
Yeah. Plus, you also have that... You've put all this effort into the weekend. You want to get as much seat
I know.
time
I think
as
I only saw you twice.
Yeah.
Just the way it works out. That's the problem with... Well, Maine, NFR is a great event, but the only issue is that, like, the distances are so huge between stages.
Right, which is a lot of people will base their weekend by Sunday River. That's where base camp is for the whole rally. But there's no stages near Sunday River.
It's kind of a mistake.
Yeah, exactly. It's so far from all the actual action.
There's such a time crunch, too, that even as media, you can't... We need to be at the stage an hour before it closes to get down it.
Right,
So sometimes you just can't physically make it.
right.
So...
And, in the end, it was kind of fine I broke the oil pan because during North Road, that weld on the trailing arm fully detached. And you guys probably saw the picture.
I saw the picture of the wheel in the wrong place.
Yeah, so it was very interesting on a 26-mile transit back. It would be probably about a 30-degree toe change if I wasn't on the gas or on the brake very rapidly.
Massively active toe.
Yeah.
On one side of the car.
And that was how, I was doing that on stage too, and I knew it, but I was like, I'll just finish.
on the dirt, it probably wouldn't be as big of a deal. On the pavement, it would probably be really
that's what I'm saying. If I was just coasting, it would go nuts. But if I was
on the gas or on the brake,
it went into one steady area.
It was okay. It polished a part of the wheel well really well.
That's good.
Yeah.
Did you see that massive rock on 16 on the southbound side? It was like poking out of the edge of the road.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like a
No,
ramp rock.
I feel
we
like
were talking about it
everybody
last
saw
year,
it,
and last episode, and I was like, yeah, I know that one.
Yeah, everybody saw it. It was like ridiculous. I was like, oh man, if you come around the corner and you're a little close to the outside.
Well, it kind of reminds me of actually why I was back down the order even further, because after the stage where the hood flew off, we were fixing stuff there, and we're on transit to the next one, and we come up near that rock, and there's a Subaru rally car.
Yeah.
Some newer guys that don't know too much about cars really. They just kind of made some cars and went out there and
slowly learning.
Yeah, well, they learned big. I assume this weekend.
It's the one that the two matching ones.
Oh yeah, those guys.
Yeah,
cars that look too low to be on stage.
All the
and one had a red door.
They're the Hawkeye, they're Hawkeye cars, but they were like NA swapped.
That car was way too low to be on stage.
Yeah, and one had a red door.
I don't remember seeing the red door.
One had red accents, one had yellow accents. They're like teeny.
Yeah, I remember the yellow accent car was
they're nice looking cars, but they're just
well
for a tarmac show.
Yeah.
But they definitely paid for them and then showed up with no crew, just all their family.
Everybody has a different path to entry, and if you have the money to do it, and
they
you want
learned
to do
about
it,
rally really quickly.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the car died.
On transit. They don't know why. It was probably just something silly. It didn't look
they
like
probably
broken or anything.
They probably ripped something off in the low undercarriage. Yeah.
It's fine. But what happened is they stopped
And they stopped in the middle of the road.
Okay.
And I pull up, and I'm like, "Hey guys, what's going on?" And they're like, "I don't know, it died." I'm like, "Well, I'm gonna push it out of the road." And they're like, "Oh my god, it's in the middle of the road." They're a little scatterbrained. After that, they kind of just put their stuff down and quit.
I can see if you go into something like this without being prepared, becoming scatterbrained really quickly.
Someone told me one of them showed up without intercoms and asked somebody who had co-driven before, and they were like, "No, I can't co-drive for you if you don't have intercoms." Like,
how are we gonna do this?
Yeah.
Left 3.
Yeah.
Did you hear me?
I mean, those roads must be so loud in the car.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And so I push them off, and as I'm pushing them off, Travis Pastrana goes by to the next stage.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why, because that seems like way out of sync for the rally.
Yeah.
But he comes around, and we get going, and we come up to the corner. He just went around, and he's parked on the side of the road now with steam and smoke coming out of the car.
Pastrana was?
Pastrana was.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we pull over, like, "Uh-oh, is he on fire?"
Being experienced.
Yeah, I'm very experienced in this. And I jump out, and I hand,
I forget his fill-in co-driver's name now.
Greg O'Dorman.
Dorman. Just
Yeah,
Dorman.
yeah.
And I hand him a fire extinguisher. I'm like, "Is it on fire?" He's like, "I'm not sure." And they're like, under it, they spray a little on it, and they figure it's just the power steering leaking onto the exhaust a little.
Yeah.
A little heavy smoke.
It's just a little smoky. So we're like, okay, well, let's go, I guess.
Well, you've not ruined my story because I let Travis Pastrana pull out into traffic on Saturday.
Oh.
And I was like, Travis Pastrana, I'll let him pull out. And I was like, we're like best friends now. I call him Travie, but you actually tried to put his fire out in his car. So you have just...
He could have lost.
Hey,
He could have burned it down.
ACP gave you the thumbs up in the Colt, right?
I did get a thumbs up from ACP in the Colt because ACP's a Colt guy. And I was up there with my 78 Dodge Colt Mitsubishi Lancer.
Yeah.
And I came around. Everybody was staged up for...
I think you're heading into the northern stages around the Azizcahoos.
Yeah, I think they were actually staged up
Office
for...
16.
I knew what one it was at the time, and he was talking to somebody, and I was like, shaking. He's like, thumbs up, and it's like, all right. He's like, all right, I'm here to watch you, but that's cool. I'll take the thumbs up.
So that was like that put us out of order on transit and stuff, and so. But it was kind of like, what is happening?
Strange. What was he doing so far back in the order? Did they keep pulling over because it was smoking?
I don't think they were pulled over before that. I mean, they pulled off a different way than us. I think they were just so far ahead in the order that they were on a different road.
They were just like, whatever.
Like transiting, I don't know.
They were 2 stages ahead of you guys.
It's like
they can go where they feel like.
It's like when you do a TSD and like there's a little note like may see oncoming rally traffic. Like
exactly.
Yeah, and you don't, or they don't have that note,
or they don't have that note.
and you're like, "Are you going the wrong way? Am I going there?"
Yeah, you're totally confused.
Well, it's funny because I'd seen a couple of cars, when I was transiting myself from stage to stage, or when I was just getting there Saturday mornings. I couldn't make Friday this year, unfortunately. So I bolted up Saturday
You
morning.
didn't see my jump.
I did not see your jump.
It was pretty
Sorry. I take that back because I was sitting in my office, and ARA has a pretty good social media team right now.
They do.
And they were doing live streams.
I didn't make that live stream.
Okay, so I didn't see your jump then.
Yeah.
No,
I saw a bunch of jumps.
They
People posted
had to
them.
move
People
so
were
they get to
recording.
South Arm. So.
I saw it somewhere, whether it was the live stream or afterwards. I did see the video.
People
of it, at least.
a lot of people that are there just post to their own little.
It's funny watching spectators.
There was
everybody's holding a camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody's watching the rally through their own eyes. They're all watching it through their view screen. I don't even take pictures anymore because, that's Andrew's thing. And I know he's going to have plenty of shots. So I'm just like, I'm going to enjoy the rally and sit back and watch.
And 90% times you're not going to watch it later.
Yeah.
And no one else is.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the send it selfie guy.
Yeah, that guy was wacky.
So strange.
I was standing on Concord Pond. I heard him. I was across the road from him. He's send it selfie. He kept saying it over and over again. I was like, what is going on?
That has something to do with that guy in Canada, I think, that rides the old Yamaha ski mobiles. You seen that guy?
Larry Exeter.
I think send it was
Larry Exciter. He says send it all the time.
I think send it was a thing before that, and that guy really
he ran with it.
Oh yeah, he made it real popular. No, we all say it all the time.
Yeah, it just became a thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It'll go away eventually. You know, there was a year everybody said YOLO, you know, so next year it won't be scented anymore.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
But it was a good day, good event. I'm glad to hear the perspective from the competitors' side. It's kind of cool to see it, because we have talked about becoming competitors and building cars, but
we've never gotten that far.
We're a bunch of wusses and haven't done it yet. So
I mean, it's tool. I mean, like I was saying, my car's pretty stock. It's the same engine that it would have came with, same transmission, unlimited slip, 410 that was available to the car.
Yeah.
The four-wheel drive version springs, the
It's a little taller.
Diag springs. Yep, and they're a little stiffer, and off-the-shelf shocks, Bilstein HDs.
So our problem is we keep looking for specific cars, and then we never find them. We want to build a car. We want to start with a built car,
Yeah.
because that's what people have told us, and we're kind of stuck with it.
Yeah, I mean,
And-
you guys have many cars. I had one car that I worked
Yeah.
on all the time.
Yeah.
The cost of a car that's built is definitely worth it if you don't have the time yourself.
Exactly.
Like some people, like me and like Vinny say, we built our cars
Right.
from cars we had because we had the time to, and we
And
weren't
you had them.
and we had them.
Yeah.
And the amount of time, the hours is I couldn't even tell you.
We actually should have invited Vinny over tonight too, because he lives around the corner.
Well, I was sad because I have Vinny's Climb the Cloud shirt, and I was going to bring it and drop it at his house,
Yeah.
but I forgot it.
Oh, you forgot it. Yeah.
Is it in the car or not?
No, it's at my
okay.
house.
I was gonna say I can bring it over.
Yeah,
to
we
him.
can bring it over to him.
Yeah.
He literally lives around the corner from
Yeah.
here.
Well,
so-
he's in West Peabody.
Yeah, whatever.
We're
You're in almost West Peabody.
We're in regular
so,
Peabody.
Yeah. But yeah, we've always wanted, because we're big into the whole vintage thing,
Yeah.
and we've been looking for like an old cult rally car with history for a while.
Yeah. I
Because
don't
that's-
even think many exist.
There's a few.
There are. I know of a few.
Right.
Yeah.
And they come up for sale always at the most inopportune times.
Right.
And they're only like $5,000 maybe.
Yeah, they're pretty cheap.
Yeah.
So we want to buy it, but it's just exactly like
They-
one came up last year and I was getting married, and one came up the year before that and I was like on a trip somewhere, and I was like, God damn it! It always comes at the wrong time.
And they'd probably be like need some updating, but you could at least run sprints with them for a while.
Yeah, yeah. And then we had that one local car that is still available, actually, that the guy is still trying to make me buy, but it's too far gone, so we haven't bought it yet. So
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, like I was
still
saying
keep thinking
before,
about it because the parts that come with it are awesome.
being a rally 20-year-old, I probably would have built a Subaru given the chance.
Correct.
And I tell people all the time, I didn't know anything or care about BMWs before I bought mine.
Before you just bought it because you
But
wanted a
now
real drive 2.5
people try to
liter
give
car.
them to me.
Yeah, which is take them.
Yes.
Absolutely take them.
Yeah, I mean, now,
That's how I wound up with 4
Somebody's
Colts.
got a question. They're like, "Hey, you know about these, right?"
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You
I do now.
become the expert
Yeah.
by not by
I-
choice, but by
Yeah, you learn a lot by just buying a car that you have know nothing about. And
Well,
now I do like them now.
And-
all older ones.
old BMWs. Yeah,
Older.
E30 and down.
We were talking 2005 and back
2005. That's even pretty new.
For most cars, even.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
like,
That's kind of where we are in
Yeah.
life. We like, because I had an 03 Evo and he had an Evo X, and that's like kind of the end of our stuff that's out now. It's whatever.
Yeah.
I don't get excited about it. It's either
Except for-
way too fast or way
the
too
problem-
shitty.
the
Except for like
problem
a
is, too,
Focus
this-
ST.
yeah. But even that, like, a lot of cars are way too complicated just to buy and race. Like, it'll be hard in, 10 years to just, buy some
10-year-old
15-year-old
ST,
car
yeah.
and be like, oh, I'm just going to go race this.
Yeah, whereas like a Mark II Volkswagen is literally,
It's got 6 wires and you're good
the
to go.
world's simplest car.
Even, I mean, surprisingly, people have done really well with the new Fiestas, just the non-turbo ones.
They have, but they're also still new cars. When
Yes.
those parts start getting old, it's going to be harder to keep those cars.
Well,
going.
also any car you race,
Yeah.
the support is there for Fiestas.
Yeah.
If you went out and bought a Hyundai Veloster and I'm going to rally this.
Yeah, that's nothing.
Good luck.
That's really why people are like, why is it always Subarus? It's like, well, in the United States,
it's easy.
it's easy because there's so much support for them.
Yeah, and you can the same thing. You can do a 2.2 1995 Subaru and get rally suspension for it.
Yeah.
For
you
like
can't do that.
$1,100
Yeah, yeah,
for a
and
basic setup.
you can't do that with a lot of cars.
Yeah, yeah. It's whatever's easy to get to.
Yeah,
So you have the E30.
Yep.
You run a few rallies. You've actually had a pretty busy schedule the past couple of years, considering you're a newer competitor, and
yeah.
it's,
I mean, we do it on. I do it on the cheap. I try to. The event fee is usually a lot more
The biggest
than
part.
the hugest part.
Which is why the sprints are cool.
I have the van now, but I still don't have a trailer. So I borrow trailers, and I drive to sprints in the car, and I drive to rally crosses in the car still, as I have for years and years.
Since the beginning. But what, we asked Vinny what his advice to somebody who wants to get into it would be. And his advice was basically don't do what he did and start with an all-wheel drive turbo car. Because he had a few limitations
I
there.
mean, he still does it on the cheap, but, the car is heavier, the car is faster, so he still needs to spend more money. Yeah, I would recommend, any racing car, really. Something simple, something with good support in the aftermarket, and something two-wheel drive. You don't need a lot of power. You don't need some V8 thing. I mean, the BMW actually has a lot of power for
its size.
For two-wheel drive. Like the winning
regional guy,
Jesse is ungodly fast driver.
He is a very fast driver.
Very fast driver. He makes a
Jesse Witzel for those.
Jesse Witzel of Banchworks in Providence.
Yeah.
Two-wheel drive golf.
His 1995 Golf he's had since it was forever. 1 year old.
Yeah.
It's got like 130 horsepower or so.
Yep.
And he drives almost as fast as Ryan Millen out there. So
yeah, no, he's fast. There's no question.
It's definitely a momentum car, and he knows how to keep it up in that.
Oh yeah.
So your advice is just start simple.
Start with something you're interested in and simple, and just do everything with it. Like I did hill climbs, I did autocrosses, I did rally crosses. I tried everything.
To work.
I knew I wanted to do rally. Yeah, I did. I mean, it was a normal car back then.
Yep.
I knew the end goal was rally, and now it's not really good for anything else because it's focused now.
Right.
But at the time, I just do everything with it. Driving and entry fees should be the thing you spend the most money on.
Mm-hmm. So how do you explain what you do? We touched on it real earlier. It's hard to explain to like your family and friends what you do, but how do you justify it to like your friends that drive like Camrys? How do you justify
rally or
the whole thing?
Owning old cars and
rallying old cars, spending money on it. Like how do you justify? You go out for your friends who aren't into cars and go out for beers, and they're like,
"Dear coworkers,
I'm going to a concert this weekend." And you're like, "I'd love to go to a concert, but I got to spend time fixing my car."
We're having a get together. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll be in my garage.
Yeah.
Like, how do you justify that to people?
Our coworkers are like,
"You're
doing what?
Shut up, and I'm going to do it."
Yeah.
I mean, the hardest part is any GoPro footage is visible on the computer screen at probably about 40% actual speed.
Yeah, it looks slow.
Yeah.
So you show like a really fast car like Higgins or Pastrana or something. They're like, oh yeah, that looks pretty quick. And then you show yours, and they're like, yeah, cool.
You driving to church? What are you doing there?
Yeah.
But in reality, you're driving as fast as you know how
in that car. I mean, you explain it to people. Like last year was helpful to explain, like, because I had like
bullet points of this crazy thing happened, and then this crazy thing happened, and we were racing through the woods for 2 days.
Yeah.
But it's hard, especially rally. It's hard to explain like what's going on.
Yeah, it's very hard to explain.
Mount Washington was a little easier because people have been up that.
Yep.
And they were like, "You went how fast?
In 7 minutes? What?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I understand that too.
Yeah. So, what was Climb of the Cons like? So you weren't driving; you were co-driving for Vinny.
I was navigating for Vinny.
Yeah.
And that was exciting because I hadn't co-driven since a sprint. I had Kevin drive at a sprint the year before, and I'd never written. Neither of us had. Well, no, he did. He went to a Canadian rally. I hadn't written my own notes before, and so being Mount Washington, being the same road, we were able to look up videos of people that did it.
Yep.
And we took some notes.
You could almost recce from your desk.
Pretty much. But you go out, and there's a lot of it. There's a lot of Mount Washington that's like, it's a turn, but it's straight. And so you write just kinks for this long until there's an actual turn where you can't see where it goes.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, the event was just, it's just crazy. And even from the, I'm sure Vinny had an amazing time from the driver's seat, but from the passenger seat, it's just, every time you look up, you're like, okay.
Yeah.
We're going fast.
All you see is the sky, and you can't see where the road goes, and you're moving pretty quick.
It's sketchy at tourist speed.
Yeah, and a tourist it takes 25 to 35 minutes to get to the top of the hill.
we're like, you're sketched out at tourist speed because some person that you don't know is on the other side
trying to push you off the mountain because they want more space.
Yeah.
I mean, like the practices, Vinny wasn't going all out,
but the first run of the real full mountain, we got to the top and we're both like shaking, like, oh my God, just did
honestly,
that.
the time he posted would have been a record in the 90s.
Yeah.
Like,
in a bone stock rusty DSM.
on like 235s or 225s.
205.
205s, even small.
Like stock size tire.
And
it was 225 stock size, or 215.
205.
Look at stock rim.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was just like
205 is a stock
But that
tire.
time he set, that was like in the 90s, that was like...
We set times as fast as like $140,000 like prepped European WRC
awesome.
cars.
Yeah.
Awesome. Like, I haven't seen Vinny since other than, after the event, but man, I just want to shake his hand again.
We were
like,
pumped.
wow. Yeah.
We've never raced together really, but like then we were
like, yep, this
best
works.
friends.
Yep. Hey, he's a good guy. He's easy to get along with, so
Yeah.
that's I can see that happening.
And
for
he
sure.
drove it to the event. And I don't know if you watched the video of that run, but we're sitting there in the car, and then announce a guy, I forget his name.
Yeah.
He goes, "It should be noted that this car was driven here and
you're
will
like-
be driven home." And we're like,
why did you say that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't say that.
"We haven't gone up yet."
Yeah, they have to drive this car home at the end of the day. You're like, shut up. Don't do this to us
No,
now.
that was good.
Yeah, I did see that video, actually. I remember laughing about that when he said it. So, but hey, it worked. So,
Yeah.
And the fact that, Vinny was on here telling the
then
story of driving the car to Canada, rallying it for 2 days, and
Well,
driving
then
it
the
home.
second run he did with no power steering. It was a little slower, but had no power steering.
He was fighting that car.
Yeah.
I mean, any front wheel drive or all wheel drive car with with one with power.
They're a bit
like
nose
turbo.
heavy.
Yeah, but you gotta fight around corners, and you gotta fight around corners that are bumpy and off camber and send you off
With a
1,000-foot drop.
1,000-foot drop on one side, and a rock face on the other side.
Yeah.
So you get no room for error at all.
Yeah, it was slower, but we didn't go slow. Definitely.
The road doesn't look bumpy until you're there and you're driving on it, and it's very, very bumpy.
Yeah, it's very bumpy.
It's very frosty.
It's actually like smooth for New England hill climb standards, but it's still
because the road is so maintained because it's used so much. Like you go to Mount Scottney, the road isn't going to be used as often.
It's the moon.
Yeah, exactly. Because the road it's just there for like fighting forest fires on the hill. Like that's the only reason the road exists.
Yeah,
it's an access. They're access roads usually. The
service
climbs to service like chairlifts.
Yep.
So
whereas Mount Washington is, every car that goes up
a
there
business.
it pays at least $30
Privately
to
owned
drive
road.
up the hill, and it gets paved all the time. Mm-hmm. And you can see when you're standing as a spectator on the side of the road on a paved area, you can see the layers and layers and layers.
I actually learned why the dirt section is still dirt. If they were to pave it, they would have to fortify the road and make it skinnier.
Okay.
And it's already
Too
not
skinny.
too skinny.
Oh,
dirt-
so that's why they
dirt
kept
The
it.
dirt section's really skinny.
Yeah.
So they'd have
Especially
to
on a
extend it
normal
out
traffic day.
on this huge drop.
I
to make it
remember
Okay.
in the 90s the dirt section went further up,
paved. It did, yeah.
and then they paved more of it. But
Yeah, if you watch the hill climbs in the 90s when Audi was setting all the times, you can see the dirt section goes a lot longer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the picture of Tim O'Neill, 90 degrees
It might have-
sideways,
it
2
might-
feet in the air.
yeah, it might have been almost from
And he was
halfway
in
up.
the Volkswagen, the
Yeah.
all-wheel drive
Rally Golf.
G60 Rally Golf.
Yeah.
It's a cool picture.
It's such a cool event.
Tim O'Neill's like my favorite local guy just because he's got so much history in rally.
Yeah, I was telling...
And he lives around the corner, and he's so approachable.
Yeah, I was telling Andrew before, he's always walking around with the drivers. He like runs ARA and all this stuff, and he's done these things. Oh yeah,
Yeah, and John Buffum
and John
too.
Buffum
Yeah.
too.
that's the John
but they
Buffum
want to
book.
just come around and talk with all the drivers and all the people they know.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, I have to go do something.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Like I consider it an honor that like I've run the Vermont Winter Challenge that John Buffum, organizes. pretty
Yeah,
much.
he's
He's a rally legend.
He's a rally legend, but he likes going out and like setting up in the middle of winter in Vermont.
Yeah.
TSD rallies
and allowing
super nerdy
us not like super competitive
Because
rallyists to do
That rally is like a throwback to the rallies of the 60s and
it.
70s.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, the way it's set up. It's a very
the way that one is, especially where
it's a very
more speedy.
fast
It's
TSD.
It's very fast. I feel like Patty Hopkirk driving around out there in the 60s.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I enjoy that event immensely every year. And
Yeah, I
cannot
only
wait
did
for
that
next
one.
year.
That really cold one. Was that last year?
That was last year. Was a really gold one.
No,
It
it was 2016 was the one that was like 14
Oh, it was
below.
2 years. Yeah, it was 2
One
years
hit my
ago.
truck. That
Yes.
was 2 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah, it was 2 years ago.
Oh yeah, it was 2 years ago.
Yeah. That was 14 below.
My,
Yeah, we were
my
scraping-
WRX ran like
So-
butt.
We were scraping ice on the inside of our windows.
So,
'Cause
yes,
that's in my
you
88
haven't done
Raider.
much off-roading in that truck, but we did do one of the craziest TSDs in the United States in that
Oh,
truck.
yeah. No, I definitely
In a truck that shouldn't have.
No,
But overheats. It's really cold then, right?
Exactly.
Right. It wasn't overheating yet.
The thermostat probably wasn't even open.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Because there was no heat coming out of it, the heater either.
We will have to return in that truck once I get running up good again. Mm-hmm. So you don't have to ride up if you don't want. I'm going to do it anyway. It was a good time. We made for good stories for the past 2 years, apparently. So screw it. Any other questions for our lovely guest today?
No, I think we'll call that one.
That's
so
pretty good.
Are there any sponsors or
anybody want to thank?
Social media? Anybody want to thank?
I'm on everything as DowneyDirtyRacing, DOWNEY.
Yep.
Dirty Racing on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all that.
Yep.
I'd like to thank my good friend Jesse Witzel, we talked about before. He owns Banchworks in Providence, Rhode Island, and he has been paramount in helping because we go down there every Tuesday for a night kind of like this.
Oh, really?
And work on cars every
That's cool.
Tuesday. He opens his shop to everybody that
cool.
he knows
Maybe
around.
we'll have to make a ride down there. And
He's got some cool stuff in there.
Yeah.
You definitely want to check it out.
It's not that far away from here either. It's probably an hour and a half.
Providence, yep. Tuesday nights. And
Have
the car.
to give us an official invite.
My knowledge in the car's level would not be as high without going down there.
Right.
Because he knows a lot.
And he's pretty big in just like the Volkswagen world in general. I know a lot of guys in the show car Volkswagen world know him.
Oh yeah,
You know,
yeah.
he's
He
a-
used to,
he's a pretty
they used to go
roundabout
out
guy.
to England and stuff, and
Yeah, and I know he goes to like H2O down in Maryland.
Oh, really?
I've seen him down there with his E30.
It helps to know if you know German cars to work on them.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
It's a German performance shop. So
Yeah.
Yep,
yeah. He was doing intercoolers on a RS6 yesterday.
that's pretty cool. $150,000 car plus
Yeah.
new RS6s. Yeah. So all right, excellent. So as always, Auto Off Topic is the Instagram name.
Yes, and Facebook, Auto Off Topic Podcast.
Yes.
You can follow me on Instagram at Race to Anger.
And you can follow me at TSISS350. And as always, the podcast is brought to you by Vintage Imports of New England. The website is currently down. We're doing some updates, so I won't plug that this week. I'll plug it again next week when we hopefully have a new thing to show you. So
Nice motor swap.
fingers crossed. No, it won't be a motor swap. It'll be a whole new area of the website and a whole new... A little bit new of a business plan. We'll change. A little change going on here. So
Evo 2.
I wish. So,
I am working on still stuff from Climb the Clouds and AFR. I will get
Excellent.
to it. It's just been very busy. Just bear with me. And as always, keep your cars analog.